Something was terribly wrong with St. Helena's church, and everyone in New Orleans knew it. Locals whispered that the dead still sang inside its rotting walls. Emily Carter ignored every warning as she crossed the broken gates at sunset, carrying only a lantern and her recorder. With every step forward, the air felt heavier. Wooden pews were smashed, hymn books turned to dust, and the old altar was covered in strange carved symbols she had never seen. She wasn't alone. Organs began playing a soft tune from nowhere, a hymn she heard in childhood yet could not remember learning. Something brushed past her shoulder, cold as death, and the voice of a child whispered, "Help me." Emily froze. Footsteps echoed behind her, but she saw nothing. Then a shadow stretched across the floor, growing longer, moving toward her. She ran for the exit, stumbling over broken tiles, breathing hard. Before she escaped, a whisper crawled into her ear, "You've come to finish his last rites." Emily burst outside, trembling, but deep inside she knew she would not leave the mystery unsolved. She would return to St. Helena's, even if it killed her. Nothing was more unsettling than the diary Emily discovered the next morning. It belonged to Father Michael Rowan, the last priest assigned to St. Helena's before everything collapsed in 1956. His handwriting grew frantic near the final pages, describing a demon sealed beneath the altar Verrucus. The demon waited for a ritual to be completed, a ritual Rowan never finished because he died screaming, mouth filled with fire. Emily needed answers, so she contacted Rowan's only living relative, Noah Rowan, a quiet man who never believed in paranormal danger until that night. They met near the church ruins as the sky turned black, thunder shaking the ground. Noah confessed he had nightmares of the church since childhood dreams of being dragged toward its doors. As they walked closer, the church bell began ringing, though it had no ropes attached. Noah's breath turned white in the hot night. A burning smell filled the air. Suddenly, the giant cross above the steeple twisted upside down, metal groaning like a living creature. Noah gasped. He didn't trap the demon, he failed. Emily recorded the sound, but only one voice was captured. The bloodline returns. Noah didn't speak those words. Something inside the church did. Everything fell apart the moment Noah heard the laughing. It was a child's laugh, echoing through the hall as if dozens were hiding between the walls. Emily panicked and forced a flashlight through a crack near the confessional booth, revealing bone fragments. She called workers to break it open, but before a hammer struck, the entire wall jolted like something inside was trying to escape. When the bricks finally shattered, tiny skeletons tumbled out. Children aged 6 to 9, all with rosaries around their necks and teeth marks on their bones. Emily cried, knowing the church hid mass murder. Noah stepped back, clutching his chest, feeling heat burn under his shirt. When Emily lifted the fabric, 3 deep claw marks cut across his ribs, drawn by something invisible. More laughter erupted, twisted into screams, and the candles around them lit themselves. A choir of children sang Latin hymns backward. Emily dragged Noah outside, shaking, but the ground under their feet pulsed like breathing flesh. Noah gasped. They weren't victims, they were offerings. Emily stared at the broken wall as a new voice whispered behind them, "He comes." Emily turned, but only darkness stared back. Nothing could explain Noah's transformation as days passed. He sleepwalked into the church every midnight, mumbling Latin prayers he never learned. His eyes grew darker, voice deeper, and he wrote ancient symbols on his bedroom walls without remembering. Emily recorded his voice, and when she played it back, another voice overlapped the demon Verrucus, whispering, "Open the doors, let America kneel." Outside the church, people in New Orleans experienced night terrors. Hundreds saw a red glow pulsing from St. Helena's steeple at exactly 3 a.m. Police arrived to check the grounds but refused to enter, reporting sudden nausea and visions of burning children. Noah collapsed one night, seizing on the floor, screaming a language Emily couldn't recognize. His body arched unnaturally, bones cracking, and he whispered Emily's name in a voice not his own. "Finish the rite," he growled, eyes rolling white. The priest's diary mentioned this stage. Possession begins when the demon attaches to bloodline weakness. Emily knew the church wanted Noah alive, controlled and used. She held his hand as shadows crawled across the ceiling, forming a horned shape. Emily prayed for strength, but the demon laughed through Noah's mouth. Prayer won't save him, it said. There was only one hope left: the forbidden ritual. Emily spent hours reading the Vatican files she secretly copied, learning the dark truth. St. Helena's was never closed from abandonment. It was sealed by force under a decree forbidding further rites. The demon required sacred relics buried under the cemetery grounds to be cast out, relics that originally belonged to saints tortured centuries ago. Emily dug through the muddy graves at night, rain pouring, thunder shaking tombstones. Every shovel strike echoed with whispers, and hands seemed to push her deeper into the earth. When she touched the first relic, a silver crucifix engraved with unknown runes, the surrounding graves trembled. Mud bubbled like boiling water. A woman's skeleton surfaced beside her, clutching Emily's arm as if alive. Emily screamed and yanked free, racing out with relics in a soaked bag. When she returned to Noah, his eyes were black pits. Verrucus snarled, "Too late. The earth remembers me." Windows shattered. Blood poured from the ceiling in long streams, even though there was no one above them. Emily knew the storm was coming for the church, and whatever happened next would decide New Orleans' fate. Noah begged Emily to kill him before the ritual began. A violent wind pushed Emily towards St. Helena's, as if the church itself demanded her arrival. She stepped inside and gasped. Noah floated above the altar, twisted, limbs bent like broken branches. His mouth opened unnaturally wide, and Verrucus spoke through him. "America belongs to me." The organ thundered, pews hurled themselves across the nave, and statues wept thick streams of blood. Emily fought through flying debris to reach Noah, clutching relics while the demon roared laughter into her mind. Noah's eyes flickered back to human for a moment. "End me," he begged. Emily sobbed, refusing, but his skin began burning under demonic fire. The floor split open beneath her, revealing a pit of swirling darkness. Invisible claws dragged her toward it until she pressed a relic crucifix to the floor, sealing the crack shut. Noah screamed again as Verrucus twisted his neck, but refused to break it. "He is my doorway," the demon boomed. Emily whispered prayers, but whispered prayers were drowned by 1,000 ghost voices chanting. As she reached Noah, his hand shot forward, grabbing her throat. His voice layered over the demons, "Choose, save your soul or save the world." The ritual was horrifying. Emily placed the relics around Noah, chanting ancient words from Rowan's diary. The church trembled so violently dust fell like rain. Verrucus manifested behind Noah, a massive horned silhouette formed from smoke, teeth gnashing inches from Emily's face. Noah's screams shredded the air, begging for relief. Emily hesitated, until she remembered what the children suffered. She lifted the relic dagger, tears streaming. Verrucus shrieked, "He lives, and I rule." Emily plunged the blade into Noah's heart. Light exploded, shattering every stained glass window. Noah's body collapsed in her arms, whispering one final word, "Finished." The demon roared, ripping free of its vessel, clawing the walls in blinding agony before exploding into ash. Emily screamed at God to forgive her, rocking Noah's lifeless body. Outside, the storm died instantly. New Orleans became silent for the first time in weeks. Emily stood inside a ruined church, broken, covered in Noah's blood, knowing she had traded a life for a city. But inside her heart, one fear grew. Ritual steps remained unfinished. She prayed the demon was gone forever. She prayed Noah did not die for nothing. Emily believed the nightmare ended, but the silence mocked her. Authorities claimed lightning destroyed the church windows and dismissed demon involvement. Emily returned home with guilt crushing her chest. Days passed, and she tried to sleep, but voices whispered Noah's name every night. On the seventh day, a small package arrived at her door. No return address. Inside lay Noah's rosary, dripping with fresh blood, and a note in his handwriting. You didn't finish the rite. Emily's world froze. Thunder erupted outside, though the sky was clear. She stepped out onto the porch and saw St. Helena's glowing red across the horizon, though she lived 30 miles away. Wind howled Noah's voice, "Come back." Emily collapsed, shaking, realizing Verrucus was not gone. The demon had left the church, traveling through Noah's blood to find a new host. Emily whispered, "It followed me." Her phone rang with an unknown number. When she answered, Noah's voice spoke, layered with growls. Last rites continue nationwide. Emily looked toward New Orleans as black clouds formed again, and church bells rang across the city by themselves. She felt darkness crawling behind her, breath on her neck, and a familiar whisper said, "America is next."